مرحبا بكم في برنامج
Welcome to Business Middle East, this week from our studio in Brussels.
euronews في بروكسل.
We're discussing fallout from the Yemen conflict in this special edition. A military operation, Decisive Storm, was launched last week against the Houthis. There have been lots of questions and analysis about the impact of this crisis on the local and global economy. To discuss the economic consequences, with us now is Nour Eldeen Al-Hammoury, Chief Market Strategist at ADS Securities in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for joining us. The Gulf region is well known as a safe haven for business. Do you think this image will change with the outbreak of conflict?
ستختلف هذه الصورة اليوم بعد إعلان الحرب في اليمن؟
لا نعتقد أنها ستختلف بشكل كبير. هي نوع من
I don't think it will change. There were some concerns when they started the airstrikes.
الدعم الذي شهدناه من
However, the support from the Arab countries and the international community will ensure safety in the region.
وحالة أن لا يكون هناك في حالة من عدم
Therefore, any threat will be dealt with.
التهديد سيكون هناك لدينا رد عربي على الأقل غير الرد الدولي. هذا الشيء سيبقي حالة الأمان مرة أخرى في هذه المنطقة.
سنتحدث معك أكثر.
We'll continue our discussion with you. But let's have a look at the financial markets reaction in this report.
أسواق النفط إثر إعلان عملية عاصفة الحزم. لنتابع هذا التقرير.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia launched military operations in Yemen.
Led by Saudi Arabia, a coalition of regional forces launched a military operation to restore President Mansour Hadi to power, a campaign with international backing. The Gulf group were joined by Egypt, Jordan, Pakistan and Morocco. But the financial markets in the region were negatively affected and closed last week with losses. Kuwait's market finished on Thursday down 2.42% and the Egyptian market fell by 1.59%. Investors fear the Gulf region will be seen as unstable and seek safe havens elsewhere. Last week, concerns over Saudi oil supply pushed prices up by 5%. The big concern is that the crucial shipping route of the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb would be closed by the conflict. It's estimated some 3 million barrels destined for the US, Europe and Asia pass through the narrow waters between Yemen and Djibouti every day.
As we saw, MENA markets took a hit during the first week. What will be the impact of the Saudi strikes on the Arab region's markets in the long run?
There are positive and negative effects from such events. There was a quick response from the new king of Saudi Arabia with support from other Arab countries and the international community. If the strikes continue for a long time, there might be some negative effects on the reserves amid declining crude oil prices, which might lead to lower reserves. However, Saudi Arabia has a massive amount of reserves and we believe that war will not affect the regional markets in the coming period. Negative sentiment will be limited and again we noticed how the markets reacted positively to the Arab League meeting in Egypt.
Let's talk about oil. Many analysts have pointed out that the hike in oil prices is limited. What are the expected oil scenarios?
هذا الارتفاع هو ارتفاع محدود. أود أن أعرف منك ما هي السيناريوهات المتوقعة للنفط في الأيام المقبلة.
Despite the crude oil rally we saw, the oil scenarios are still in a limited range. Therefore, the prices may continue to trade within a tight range until the OPEC meeting in June. They might trade between 40 to 60 until the meeting, which might come with an intervention to cut the production.
سمعنا الكثير من الحديث.
There's a lot of concern about the actions of the Houthis.
ضربات أو رد فعل الحوثيين.
Mainly over the passage of oil tankers in the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. Will that impact on oil prices if the strait is closed?
بشأن هذا الموضوع.
As the markets are oversupplied with oil, we don't think that such an event will have a notable effect. At the end of the day, the markets will start consuming the oversupply oil if supplies are interrupted. By then, yes, oil may rise. However, the Egyptian Navy moved to protect supplies supplies, which was seen as a positive event for supplies. We shouldn't forget that the action will continue until Yemen is stabilized, and this is why the markets recovered, not only in the region but also globally at the beginning of the week.
In case investment shifts out of the Gulf region, where could we see businesses go?
As we've seen before during such events, war, everyone rushes to safe havens such as gold and silver. And so gold and silver both spiked. However, the rally was short-lived as the Arab countries' meeting sent a strong message, leading investors to shift back to the stock market, not just the regional markets, but globally. The investments will remain within the same range, whether in Saudi Arabia or elsewhere in the region. Especially now that everyone is waiting for Saudi Arabia to start accepting international investors, which is expected to bring in a significant inflow. So opportunities remain in the region and in Europe despite tensions in the Middle East, Europe and Russia.
لذلك أعتقد أنه ستبقى هذه الحلقة متواجدة على الأقل في المنطقة العربية في ظل هذا الرد الكبير الذي شاهدناه.
شكرا جزيلا لانضمامك إلينا بهذه الحلقة الخاصة نور.
شكرا جزيلا.
في الختام مني ومن فريق العمل تحية طيبة، ولقاؤنا يتجدد الأسبوع المقبل.